Bring in show music, please.
Hi, I'm CNBC producer Katie Kramer. Today on Squawk Pod. The election year like no other continues to surprise. A break from debate format and risks to two presidents. A guy who went from Wall Street to the White House and back. Anthony Scaramucci joins us.
It's a great idea for Biden, and I think the Trump team is probably now looking at those conditions that Mr. Trump impetuously agreed to, and they're probably worried about a few of those conditions.
Spicing things up, YouTube creator Sean Evans behind the viral hit Hot Ones.
The big hits that we've had, like Paul Rudd being like, look at us, who would have thought, not me, or Idris Elba choking on the wing, or Gordon Ramsay blasting me with a milk fire extinguisher.
All that today, plus the games stopped?
A meme stock craze now lasts 4 days.
The Berkshire Hathaway mystery holding revealed, the BLS jumps the gun, and debating the debating.
Do you think this is going to be a hard debate for Trump?
No, I think he would accept anything just to get Biden off script.
It's Thursday, May 16th, 2024. Squawk Pod begins right now.
Stand Andrew by in 3, 2, 1. Cue Andrew.
Good morning and welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. I'm live, and we are live, I should say.
You are live.
I am live,
You're
but
live.
at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square, I'm kind of alive. It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
What's the aura
How
say?
alive? My aura ring score. We could do a daily score.
We should right now.
Well,
just
if
to
we're going to do that,
prepare me and
we should
prepare
get that sponsored, by
85?
the way.
Yeah, we should. 85?
I think it's about an 80 this morning, actually, which isn't bad for me.
80's not bad.
No, not bad. I mean, 85. You want 85 or above?
You want 85
I get a
or above.
crown if I vote
Like
for
I said,
85.
it sounds like college. I wanted 85 or above.
Exactly.
Wasn't always successful.
I'm Andrew Sorkin. That's Joe Kernen. Becky is out today. We got a lot going on. The major indices closed at record highs yesterday. The Dow was up 350 points. The S&P and NASDAQ each gaining more than 1%. We'll talk meme stocks in a second. They went the other direction. Treasury yields, though, take a look at the 10-year, 4.334. The 2-year at 4.736.
Look at that was fast, wasn't it? Let's look at the meme stocks. We'll see. It could always come roaring back, but it's a GameStop now down 6.33. I think it got up to more than double that. AMC had been more than double where it is. It's down about 65 cents, still well above some of the recent lows for those shares. But GameStop and AMC fell during yesterday's session. AMC, as it has in the past, took advantage of this week's rally yesterday, announcing a debt-for-equity swap. It completed a $250 million stock sale on Monday. There's length contraction and time dilation were two of the things about general relativity. And do you think that is a meme stock craze now lasts 4 days? I mean, the last one lasted and went to much higher
levels. Well, that's
it
what
lasted
people
much
said this was
longer.
but they said that GameStop was much harder to short because it's much harder to get a loan on that stock.
Right, but could it be a week phenomenon instead of a 6 month? How long was it last? Probably 3, 4, 5 months at least, wasn't it last time?
Yeah. So we got.
And much higher. It went into the hundreds, didn't it?
So that's why I said.
So it happened much more quick, but people really wanted it to be happening again.
But I think it'd be hard to keep any of these things really.
So do you think we're going to see a meme
falling
from here to back like this, and I'm not watching anymore, or?
I think we need to get a T-shirt of you doing that.
Right. I'm a performance art. Most people, they're just like this, and they sit up straight, and they never move or anything else. No, I'm a performance artist.
I know you are. We've finally learned, talking about a performance artist, this guy is a performance artist. His name is Warren Buffett. We learned which stock Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway had requested to keep secret in 2 quarterly SEC filings as it amassed a position. Berkshire bought nearly 26 million shares of Zurich-based insurer Chubb for a stake worth $6.7 billion. It became Berkshire's 9th biggest holdings as of the end of March. Insurance Ace Limited acquired the original Chubb back in 2016, I should say, for $29.5 billion. And the combined company adopted the Chubb name. CEO of Chubb is Evan Greenberg, son of former AIG CEO Hank Greenberg. It's quite a company. Chubb is a remarkable company.
It's a good company. I had it for a while for like a blanket liability. You know why you need them? You know why you need that? If you got any money at all,
Yeah.
and you have a German Shepherd, you need one of those, because someone, if it happens,
Something bad happens.
yeah, they're gonna try and get everything that you have, and eventually, I think I have two now, and I think they wouldn't do it anymore.
Now the Warren's involved, he really won't do it.
He really won't do it now because he's risk averse. He only wants good risks. He only wants good credit risk. But it's parachute. I forget what it's called, but it's like covers all. Kind of covers whatever you've built up in your life, so that someone just can't. I guess you could slip on your walk or something.
But this is a demonstration of just how hard it is.
To find value.
To find value.
Well, I was hoping for something more exciting.
That's the hard part. It's very hard to find value.
Yeah. Well, it was a long wait to find out what it was, and then it was Chubb. But that's okay. I like Chubb. Greenberg. It's exciting in the way it's run.
Yep.
I guess.
This one's a fascinating story. Some of yesterday's CPI data. Guess what? It was inadvertently published 30 minutes early. The Bureau of Labor Statistics loaded a subset of its files to its website before the release time. There were no obvious signs that the early publication seemed to move markets. We were on the air and we didn't see the move, but and I should say also no sharp movements in the half-hour stretch between the time the data was uploaded and the scheduled release. Now, the agency is saying it's conducting a full investigation into its procedures and controls to ensure the incident is not repeated, but there's been lots of questions about data coming out of that bureau, from the Fed, all sorts of folks.
This is different than the data Jay Powell probably got to be able to say we're still going to, earlier when he said we're still on track to.
Look,
they're allowed. He's allowed.
The question is when they get it.
Right.
Oftentimes, the president of the United States often gets the data, I believe, in the afternoon before it's announced.
They just shouldn't tell any of those guys in Congress or guys and gals in Congress that have done so well.
Who are good at calling fidelity, right? They
exactly.
Calling the broker.
There are some members of Congress that I saw today. They have tens of millions of dollars. Some of these people.
Some of them do. Some of them do. Hopefully, they made that money prior to becoming congressman.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal.
Talk about looks. There's going to be a lot of looks.
Did you see that it took to get a 13-second tape? He had like 8 cuts in the tape. Did you see the jumps in the tape?
I did not, but let me just tell the audience what we're talking about first. So President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, talk about looks. They're going to be giving a lot of them to each other because they've now scheduled 2 debates. One to air on CNN, that's going to happen on June 27th, and another one to air on ABC on September 10th. You can mark both of those dates on your calendar. Both showdowns will be held without the involvement of the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates, which has organized presidential debates since 1988. The Biden campaign calling that commission out of step with changes in the structure of our elections and the interests of voters. Trump's campaign called for 2 additional debates. He's looking for ones in July and August. I feel like this is going to be like a cage match.
There were a lot of conditions. I think Trump was going to say yes no matter what. I think that's, I don't know. I might have had some counter conditions that I'd ask. Mics get turned off when the other candidate is answering. No studio audience. CNN. I mean, say what you will, but we'll see whether. I don't know how long the debate is. They may get past talking about January 6th. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure they'll talk about any policies or any, the border. Jake Tapper, who's the other, and Dana Bash. With Trump, I think he's going. Hopefully, he goes in eyes wide open, because. What am I saying? I'm saying that it's going to be very hard. I would have.
You think it's going to be hard for Trump?
I think.
You think this is going to be a hard debate for Trump?
No, I think he would accept anything just to get Biden off script to see, so people can get a look at that. But if you had to go to a friendly place for Biden, that I would do CNN 7 days a week for Biden.
I don't know. I think it's going to be very, very tough for Biden.
You do?
I do.
We're again. See,
I think it's going to be very. I think it's going to be very challenging. I think under all circumstances, it's going to be challenging.
Jake Tapper might answer for Biden.
True. No. I don't. That I don't believe. I actually think that Dana Jake will do a great job with it. That's not. I wouldn't criticize the questioners.
I saw a clip yesterday. My people send me these clips. I saw one yesterday where Trump, all he was doing was buying some people some pizzas or something, and CNN happened to be in looking at that for just 5 seconds, and Tapper almost had a heart attack. Oh my God, this is turning into, and immediately dumped out. That place is crazy. Come on.
I have great admiration for Jake, and I have great admiration for Dana. I do, and so I wouldn't.
Well, he can't do anything for you.
Can't do anything for me, but I'm not going to. Those are stones I will not.
Great admiration for Brett Baer.
I really like Brett.
Okay, how about Sean Hannity?
I think Sean Hannity is very good at what he is. What he tries to do. He's very good at it. I don't agree with him, but I think he's very good at what he's trying to do.
We're getting out of our lane, I think, at this point, right?
Let's talk about Netflix.
You want to?
We can do it after the break.
Tease will be next.
Coming up, President Trump's communications director, for 11 days, is squawking with us, Anthony Scaramucci.
I grew up in a blue-collar, aspirational America. We turned it into a blue-collar, desperational America. And Trump is an avatar for those people, and I respect that. But he's too dangerous to return to the presidency.
Plus, why he's pushing for more bulls on Bitcoin.
Do the homework on Bitcoin, because when you do the homework on Bitcoin, you go towards Bitcoin.
Squawk Pod will be right back. You're listening to Squawk Pod.
Stand by, Joe. His mic, cue.
I'm Joe Kernen, along with the very talented Mr. Andrew Ross Sorkin.
Thank you. I'm here with the talented Joe Kernen.
We were just talking about that. Becky is off today. She'll be back tomorrow.
I believe so.
Coming back on a Friday. That's dedication, isn't it?
It is.
It'd be just as easy to say I'll see you on Monday. Bitcoin surging more than 7% on Wednesday, having its best day since March 25th. Cryptocurrency taking off after a cooler than expected CPI report. Right now, Bitcoin, I think, is still above 66. It is. Joining us now, Anthony Scaramucci, Skybridge Capital founder and managing partner. His new book is From Wall Street to the White House and Back, and it does go over his experience, and it's actually 4 pages. It's a pamphlet. Because
you're making fun of the 11 days, Joe. Yeah. No, that was.
It hit.
You could also say 954,000 seconds, Joe. Sometimes I say it to my therapist like that. It makes me feel
every second was,
Every second was meaningful.
You could,
Joe.
and you could probably write about almost every second.
221 pages for the record.
221 pages. Thank you. Is there see, if I pay him to read it, he charges me for the index. There's no index.
No, I read it. You can buy it on Audible. I read it.
My God, I'm really
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for bringing up the book.
Are you? Do you have updates on the institutional adoption of Bitcoin? I've seen some comments just recently. The PayPal guy said everything is eventually going to be on Lightning or something. I mean,
the Lightning Network. Well, I mean, listen, we'll talk about Lightning Network if you want, but I think the institutional adoption is happening now. The state of Wisconsin announced we expect other pension funds to announce, and of course, Bitcoin now has the regulatory approval, and I think that was the rate limiting step for a lot of these large scale institutions. And just remember, if you're not long Bitcoin, you're possibly short Bitcoin in the sense that if you believe, and I think BlackRock has more or less said this, that this will be part of a long-term tactical asset allocation strategy for institutional investors, then at some point you've got to get long Bitcoin. Is it 1% of Bitcoin, 1.5% Bitcoin? I don't know. So a lot of smart institutions are saying, let me get long this thing before it becomes part of a total tactical asset allocation index. And I think that's starting to happen now, and that's very good for Bitcoin.
Is it because it's a hedge against 34 trillion in money printing or whatever it is?
Yeah. Well,
or is it going to be used to seamlessly transact around the world, or both?
So, I'm in the digital gold category.
At this point.
Yeah, Michael Saylor. I'll probably call my cell phone after this and say, no, this is in the universal currency category, meaning it'll eventually be the standardized currency for the world over the things like the Lightning Network. But I think what's important for people to do is to do the homework on Bitcoin, because when you do the homework on Bitcoin, you go towards Bitcoin. I know very few people that have done the homework, several hundred hours of understanding Bitcoin, not just reading the right white paper, but really understanding the history of money and all the different boxes that Bitcoin checks off.
That was kind of a revelation.
But I've been in trouble on this because Skybridge announced our Bitcoin position in November of 2020. And a lot of institutions, wirehouses, they didn't like it. They didn't like the position. It's 4 years later. Now these very same wirehouses are adopting the position and are getting long the ETF, or at least allowing their financial advisors to recommend the ETF. And so, sometimes when you're early, you get a lot of bumps and scrapes, but I think it pays to be early in Bitcoin, and I think we're still early in Bitcoin.
But if they're really, if there's 21 million and it's going to eventually have some percentage of what the gold market is, why it should be, Tom Lee says 150 by the end of the year, which I have no idea what to think of 150,000 by the end. But it seems like if that is a given, that it should be moving up even more quickly.
Okay, well, let's just do the math together for a second. Let's say gold is $16 trillion.
Right.
And let's say Tom Lee is wrong by half, which I don't think he is, and I appreciate him coming to my book party last night. But I think Tom Lee's going to be right. But just if Bitcoin got to $8 trillion.
Was it the coiffed Tom Lee, or was it the wild TomLee?
Because it was a little wild.
When he comes on here, you never know. It could be.
But he's an incredibly Zen-like guy.
He's so smart. I know.
Doesn't have my emotional wavelength, Joe. We have a tendency to sign and co-sign.
Our product that we have in the hair.
No. And I need more product lately, Joe. Not less product. More product.
Go ahead.
I have a political.
Go ahead.
What do you think?
I know where you're going.
What do you think I'm going to say?
I know where you're going.
I was going to pivot the conversation.
And I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to represent 80 million.
No.
I'm going to represent 80 million.
Let's talk about these debates. So the big news of the morning.
I'm going to be
the last 24 hours.
You're going to gang up on me.
Hold on. The big news of the past 24 hours is Biden's going to debate Trump. Trump's going to debate Biden.
Yes.
What do you think of this decision? Is this a good idea for Biden, a bad idea for Biden, a good idea for Trump, a bad idea for Trump? What does the cage match look like, the results?
Well, I think it's a great idea for Biden, and I think the Trump team is probably now looking at those conditions that Mr. Trump impetuously agreed to, and they're probably worried about a few of those conditions. And so now what's at issue? Trump said, you make up the rules. I'll debate you any place, anytime. They made up the rules. He hit the bid. And now the question is he going to
Why do you think this is going to be very good for Biden?
Oh, because there's low expectations. Anytime that you enter a debate with
even Andrew has low expectations.
No, but anytime you enter a debate with low expectations, the president is way more put together, and he's way sharper than people want to give him credit for. He does have a stutter that's plagued him his entire life. And he is older, but as I've said on this show and other shows, I would take somebody older and slightly forgetful over somebody that's full on crazy. And so to me, I love NATO. I love the international order. I love the fact that we have very, very smart people that are working on things like the economy. I don't like the impetuousness.
What do you make of a number of your peers on Wall Street, who I think had moved away from Trump and are now moving back? And I'm thinking of, I don't know if they ever moved away, but Ken Griffin or so many others. You go out to Milken and there's a whole bunch of people that are moving back into Trump camp. And then there are folks even like a Bill Ackman, who I don't know if he's fully in a Trump camp, but he's clearly in an anti-Biden camp with the hope that somehow he's going to find some, new candidate who's going to emerge.
Well, I had then Vice President Biden and Bill at a dinner at the SALT conference in 2017. And this
is Ackman.
Yeah, Bill Ackman. Right, yeah. And so there was some soreness there, and I think it spilled over into where we are now. And I think Bill's a very analytical guy. I don't think I think that's his objective view. He thinks Mr. Trump is going to win. That's his objective view. I think Mr. Trump is going to lose because this is a get out the vote situation. These are two candidates that have been in the public spotlight for 5 decades. There's very few people in the United States that don't know who they are. This is not the Barack Obama 2008 introduction tour. These are two known entities.
So what do you think, though? There is an argument to be made, though, and I don't know if you think it's
way more funded than.
I don't know if you think it's helping him or hurting him, but the fact that Trump is, down at a courthouse and has effectively been muzzled. Mm-hmm. Does that help him? I mean, no, there's a view that, the public doesn't see him that much, that actually people forget about some of the things that might be considered on the crazy side. But then there's another view that, he needs to be out there in front of a lot of people to sort of get them excited and riled up. How do you think that this cuts?
Is he getting a lot of attention being at the courthouse? See, I think he is. And I think the former president...
It's a different type of attention,
Well,
though.
no, but you see, the former president would tell you that any type of attention is good. Good attention, bad attention, negative attention. You pick the attention, get the spotlight on me. And if you get the spotlight on me, my name recognition goes up.
Right.
And these presidential contests are generally popularity contests. They're not hiring decisions by the American people. It is a popularity contest, and so he likes this sort of stuff. He also
but it's not really popular. It's who do you like or who do you hate the least?
Okay, I'm just going by what he says, but also he loves all of these guys showing up with the long red tie and the white shirt, and they're doing this in front of the camera outside the courthouse. He loves that stuff. At
the same, Bill Ackman tweeted out, and that's how we happen to see it, of Victor David Hansen, I think, a kind of a synopsis of the back. Did you read that? The background of Joe? I just, when you say he's had, and I feel anybody that has a stuttering problem, I feel bad for, and that, that conjures sympathy. There's a lot more in Joe Biden's history than stuttering, and a lot more of his problems that he has right now are not tied to stuttering.
I think that the American people, 70% of the American people, would prefer two other choices.
Right.
Than these two.
Right.
Guys.
That's what I'm saying. Both sides are holding their nose. Okay.
And this is sort of the relics of the baby.
But you're a lifelong Republican, and maybe you don't believe. Maybe you think that
conservative-minded person, even though socially I'm liberal.
Right.
I think you share that.
Right. Exactly. But you probably, there are times when President Biden is saying certain things about corporate America, or where you probably say, "Oh, he's just appealing to the populist side of things." He doesn't really believe in those, because a lot of what he does is anathema, and its policies are anathema to what you've stood for your whole life. And so is Trump.
Let me ask you something.
I don't want to, because I'm not here to defend Trump.
No, but if there were 40 people that worked at a pharmaceutical company, or 40 people that worked at an aircraft manufacturer or an automobile company, and they said to you, "Hey, this is not working." Okay, you've got 40 people in the cabinet. You have the former vice president of the United States that will not endorse the current potential Republican nominee. He was on the ballot with him.
You can find, Anthony, you can find both now. You can find both. I can mention other people that Mnuchin, I can mention. No, I can mention more.
The Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross.
I'm not going to out people, but I can.
But you can't find people who worked with Biden, interestingly, who won't vote.
Well, they went in knowing what they were doing.
If I told you the drug, I was there, I watched the drug getting made, it's going to kill you, Joe. You're going to take the drug? The drug's going to kill you, Joe.
Most people remember, there is a nostalgia coming back to what we had for 4 years versus where we are right now, and you can't deny it. So you need, don't talk to me.
The nostalgia is for the checks that were being written to every American family.
That happened in
There's no denying that, but I'm just trying to tell you something. There's a Surgeon General's warning label on the candidate.
That's fine.
This candidate's dangerous for your health. This candidate is dangerous for the institutions of your democracy.
The country's split down the middle, Anthony. So you've either got stupid people or traitors. So just respect the other side, that they have a different point. Okay, they have a different point of view than you.
I grew up with the other side.
Okay, they have a different point of view. Not everyone who's a Trump backer is either stupid or a traitor.
I didn't say that they were stupid or traitors. There's a lot of very
they're just not
people.
listening to you.
No, it's not it, Joe. We grew up, you and I grew up in a blue-collar, aspirational America. We turned it into a blue-collar, desperational America. And Trump is an avatar for those people, and I respect that. But he's too dangerous to return to the presidency, Joe.
Okay, the book is called From Wall Street to the White House and Back. Anthony Scaramucci, The Scaramucci Guide to Unbreakable Resilience. How do you have this resilience?
I have to deal with Joe. I've been dealing with Joe
I told you
for
it was going to be. It was going to
Okay.
be back to me.
Next on Squawk Pod, YouTube is bigger than traditional TV with billions of viewers around the globe. We'll talk to one streaming star getting celebrities to eat spicy wings and speak. Hot Ones host Sean Evans.
Oftentimes guests will come in and they'll be in a PR-driven flight pattern, right? So what I think hot sauce does is disrupt that. It makes you forget that you're on a show.
I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings.
Welcome back to Squawk Pod, today with Joe Kernen and Andrew Ross Sorkin. Here's Andrew.
YouTube having its upfronts to highlight how shows on the service can compete with bigger players. YouTube TV screen time makes up now nearly 10% of American viewership and places it in direct competition with traditional networks and streaming services, even surpassing Netflix, Hulu, and Max, according to Nielsen data. One of YouTube's biggest hits is Hot Ones, the viral interview show known for making celebrities from Shaq to Gordon Ramsay eat blazing hot wings. He did not bring us any wings this morning, but he is here. Sean Evans is
sauce.
here.
And really ask us.
He is the host of Hot Ones.
And really ask us, we can do some sauce.
We can do some sauce.
I always have sauce on me. Yeah, we can run it in.
Yeah. So, did you have any idea when you first started doing this? What did you think was going to happen?
I didn't have the biggest dreams for it at all. You know, I thought that maybe we could be a funny internet sideshow, and maybe we'd do it seasonally, quarterly, or something like that, and have some sort of the viral chicken wing interview. But the audience demand was quickly cult and very energetic, so we got into the mode of programming it regularly, and here we are.
And you've had all sorts of great guests over the years. Are there certain guests you'd like, and is there any guest that said, look, I'd love to come on the show and talk to you, I don't want to eat wings. I don't like wings.
That happens all the time. In fact, Maya Rudolph, who just parodied Hot Ones on Saturday Night Live as Beyonce, she's done it now fake 3 times on her show Loot and twice on Saturday Night Live. And I was like, oh, well, you should come on the real show. And she said, Sean, there's no way in. And then she said a swear word, I'm ever eating those wings. So that happens all the time. You always get passes or no's, but sometimes they turn into yeses, you know, later down the line.
What, they have they're vegetarians or something, or they don't want to look bad because it's so hot?
Oh, well, we do vegan wings, you know, all the time.
What's the problem? Why don't they want to?
Because there's a caveat to the show. There is a catch. You have to eat 10 scorching hot chicken wings, Joe.
I can do that. I'm not inviting myself.
I'm sure you can. I know.
And you could. I know.
Do you have any idea of what percentage of viewers come to your show directly, meaning they want to watch this specific episode of the show, and they are subscribers, for example, or something else, versus getting fed it in the funnel that lives on the other? I mean, one of the brilliant sort of aspects of YouTube is you can get into either a maybe we call it a doom loop, but you get into the spiral and you see different things that keep popping up.
Yeah, all right. I think for the most part, there are people that we got into the tent and then have stayed in the tent. You know, that's the amazing thing about YouTube, is it's not like these other things that are like hopping from streamer to streamer, or they get rolled up into some app bundle or in a subscription or like behind a paywall or anything like that. It has a good, consistent home, and we've been consistent in delivering episodes at 11 a.m. every Thursday, so people know exactly where to find it. They don't have to try to figure it out.
Social media, in terms of promoting it, how do you do it?
You know, I think for the most part, the big hits that we've had, like Paul Rudd being like, look at us, who would have thought, not me, or Idris Elba choking on the wing, or Gordon Ramsay blasting me with a milk fire extinguisher. A lot of times fans just naturally grab these moments, and then they become these memes that become shooting stars in the constellation of pop culture and almost get bigger than the show itself. So it's kind of a beast that feeds itself.
Okay, I have some naive questions. Is it the drumstick and the wing, does that count for one wing, or is it like the half?
A drum wing would be independent from a flat. You can have an assortment.
Do you have a preference?
Yeah, you know, I started off as a drum.
Me too.
Drum guy.
But I'm not.
But I've evolved into a flat.
Me too.
Man.
I'm a flat guy, and it's perfect for my wife, who's a
Kindred
drumstick.
spirits.
Kindred spirits. I like why do we like the flat better?
I think there's just something about the technique and the ritual of splitting it, ripping it, and sipping it. You know?
And it's easier. It's not as I don't know. The meat isn't as thick or as thick. It can be tough, right? It can be tough.
Do you find?
Do you have a? Do you need to tell me?
I like the classic wing. I don't.
Together? You don't.
No, I
not
like
split. You like the drumstick or the flat part?
The flat part.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Let's go get wings, boys.
Yeah.
So, no. What I wanted to know
could
is,
have done that for us.
You get the best stuff out of your guests. You think as it gets hotter? Is that clear?
What I think it does is.
Or is there? No, I want to know. I wonder. I think sort of like maybe like the 7th wing. There could be like an over. You know. gets a little more complicated.
Well, I think, as you guys know, oftentimes guests will come in and they'll be in a PR-driven flight pattern, right?
Right.
So what I think Hot Sauce does is disrupt that.
That's
it makes you
good.
forget that you're on a show.
Is there a thought about a shot of tequila with each wing?
When
And
Dave
what
Grohl
that-
was on the show, we drank an entire bottle of Crown Royal between us. He turned it into shot one.
See,
so
then that's
show has
added
an
to
open
2 +
format.
2 = like 11 when you do that. That sounds good.
yeah, I was running into walls walking down the hallway.
Yeah, I
to
was
get
thinking
back
I
to
should
my
do a
hotel.
donut show.
Well, I was
Yeah,
thinking,
I eat a lot of donuts on the show.
you do.
Love donuts. Do you think a YouTube show with donuts would work?
I say give it a shot. Andrew.
He says that. He says that without
He's
any-
like it's just sort of appeasing. I don't think. No, I think this is different. I don't
Because the
think.
sugar really could impact you.
No, I think you're right. On the seventh wing, people are like, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. Hot sauce. It's a challenging, humbling thing.
But a sick mind came up with the whole idea of this.
It's
Was that you?
masochistic,
Yeah.
for sure. But I think what ends up happening is celebrity is this thing that by definition is unobtainable, but we all know what it's like to die on hot sauce. So I
Right.
think it takes the celebrity off that pedestal, and it's like we accidentally invented the what's it like to have a beer with this person
Two
show.
final questions. One
Sure.
about celebrity.
Sure.
It feels like the celebrity is not celebrity anymore.
Right, where like
Because
everyone's
like
kind of a star, so
accessible
no
and they're
one's a
all very
star.
on,
Yeah,
they're on the gram already.
yeah.
Right.
And so, is it as so what do you do about that?
Well, I think it's just an ever-evolving thing, and same with our show. Like I guess there's no barriers to entry anymore, so there is this natural leveling of the playing field. So maybe you can feel like,
Right.
oh, everyone's a star, so no one's a star, sort of a thing. But I also think that we're in a period of, fragmentation. Now I do think it's consolidated to a point where the hits are going to be hits and
Right.
the things that
Do
aren't.
more people, you think, watch it on a physical phone versus an actual screen? You think people are watching this on the big screen?
I am. So I think so too. YouTube is just an app on my TV, just as Max is, just as Netflix is, just as Hulu is. I just click on YouTube and then I watch every episode Thursday on my wall-mounted big screen TV
Right.
in my living room. So I'd have to imagine I'm not the only one.
And finally, the economics for your program.
Yes.
Are you selling the sponsorship directly? How much of it is your own sponsorship versus the ads that they're doing for you and you sharing in their?
There's a bunch of different ways. You have a sponsorship on a particular episode. This episode is brought to you by
Right.
Tums, for example, or whatever. We have a hot sauce business as well. And so, you end up putting your hand into a couple different honey pots in the frozen aisle at Walmart, in the game shelf at Target. And, the fans that support the show, they have to do it in a little bit of a different way than like a traditional or linear
Right.
television show. But they've been there, they've been enthusiastic, and here we are still standing 10 years later.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
If I do a
Cheers.
donut show, you'll be.
You can have coffee.
I'd love to be a guest.
Yeah.
Sean, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Maybe donuts with hot sauce.
He's onto something here.
Yeah.
Kinda weird.
I don't need to. I don't want to ape his broadcast.
Right. Okay.
And that is Squawk Pod for today. Thanks for listening. Squawk Box is hosted by Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin.
I'm a performance artist.
I know you are.
Tune in weekday mornings on CNBC at 6 Eastern. And to get the smartest takes and analysis from our TV show right into your ears, follow Squawk Pod wherever you get your podcasts. That's it. We'll meet you back here tomorrow.
We are clear. Thanks, guys.